Imagine this: you're standing on the precipice of a towering cliff, the horizon stretching endlessly before you as dusk weaves shadows into twilight. The air is electric with something intangible, and the abyss below is a yawning chasm that breathes a cold, indifferent promise. It's all-consuming, yet eerily silent. You lean forward, not to fall, but to see into the depths and discern its secrets. But something unexpected happens. As you stare, transfixed by the void, you realize with a jolt of clarity that the abyss stares back, its presence suffused with an unsettling warmth, a knowing smile curving in the emptiness. A tremor runs through you. Why does this void seem so alive, almost welcoming? What is it that you recognize in this darkness that seems so familiar, yet utterly alien? Here, the world teeters on the edge of comprehension. What you perceive as emptiness burgeons with an unspoken understanding, a paradox wrapped in an impossibility. The abyss, long feared for its unfathomable gaping maw, is not a void of terror, but a mirror reflecting the deepest parts of the self. It is smiling back, not with malevolence, but with an enigmatic tenderness. What does it see in you? What do you see in it? And how does such a meaningless entity suddenly feel so meaningful, so personal? Is it an unveiling of secrets long buried within, or merely a trick of the mind, a manifestation of everything you failed to confront until this very moment? The wind whispers past, laden with questions, the kind that strip away pretense and superficial understanding. Is it possible that our relentless pursuit of meaning is what gives the abyss its smile? Could it be we chase more than answers, perhaps echoes of our own inquisitive darkness, craving confirmation of who we truly are, even if it's hidden in shadow? How is it that this infinite nothingness reveals more of ourselves than a mirror ever could, challenging us in ways that incite both fear and reverence? Consider the enigma of this interaction. As you stand there, the horizon now a mere suggestion against the vibrant tapestry of sky and shifting night, you feel the weight of the infinite pressing invisibly against your soul. Does the abyss convey some profound message, one you've been too busy, too afraid, to acknowledge? Are you peering into a silent scream echoed across the panorama of existence? Or is there a gentle whisper amidst the chaos that offers clarity more profound than any spoken word? These queries churn within you, a swirling conundrum that urges introspection far beyond mere curiosity. It forces you to ponder your existence, the nature of your reality, and the truths cloaked in uncertainty. As you reflect, somewhere within, a subtle yet poignant realization tugs at the corners of consciousness, suggesting the lines between knowing and not knowing are not as sharp as they seem. Why do we effortlessly maintain this dichotomy of fear and comfort, repulsion and attraction toward the unknown? A dance as ancient as humankind itself? What draws us to the precipice of our understanding, and why does that gap between certainty and potential self-discovery incite such a reaction, an inexplicable smile gazing back? As darkness deepens, inescapable and profound, the urge to unravel the tenderness of that abyssal smile becomes inextricable from your very being, seeding questions more evocative than any resolution. What emerges when stripped down to the core of reality, beneath the skin of humanity, beyond societal facade? And yet, as the abyss continues to stare with unwavering intensity, it becomes clear. This is not a riddle to be solved, but a journey to be embraced. Let us step into the shadow of this question together, probing its roots, daring to trace the source of this unsettling paradox. As we navigate further into the depths, what might we unearth about ourselves, our world, and the dance between light and dark? Let us descend further, for the heart of this mystery awaits. Delve now into the origins of this curious connection, a tether linking humanity to the essence of the abyss. Why does the void evoke introspection, a revelation wrapped in silence, coaxing forth hidden truths buried deep within our psyche? Even as the world brims with noise and distraction, the abyss beckons with its profound quietude, urging us to listen to what remains unsaid, unseen. But why this strange familiarity? What is it about this chasm that feels uncanny yet intimate, as though we are looking into the depths of our own being? Turning to the sage whispers of philosophy and the intricate maps of the mind, the task is to unravel this enigma woven through our existence. When Friedrich Nietzsche, famously mused, "When you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you." He offered a reflection on the human condition, a recognition that in confronting profound darkness, we are often met with a reflection of our soul's shadows, desires, and fears, a mirror that holds the capacity to taunt and teach simultaneously. The abyss, then, is not merely a void of emptiness, but a canvas upon which our psychological projections cast long shadows. Carl Jung described this as the shadow, an archetype comprising everything in us that is unconscious, repressed, and ignored. It is this shadow that dances around the light of our consciousness, reminding us constantly of what we hide from others and often from ourselves. The abyss's smile, therefore, is a gentle acknowledgement of this shadow, a whispered affirmation of its existence. Yet, why do we fear such revelations and, paradoxically, why do they enchant us? Our minds are wired to seek meaning, to draw patterns out of chaos. The abyss challenges that pursuit directly by seeming to negate it, presenting us with the ultimate simplicity, emptiness, and thereby prompting us to fill it with our own narratives, our deepest questions, and concealed emotions. Arthur Schopenhauer noted that existence is charged not with inherent meaning but with a relentless blind will, an idea that the abyss embodies in its formlessness, prompting us to reflect back upon the desires and emotions we've embedded into the world around us. Society, with its myriad pressures and structures, often compels people to avoid discomfort, to gloss over complex emotions in pursuit of stability and certainty. Providing ready-made answers and fixed models of living has a tendency to suppress deeper questions that might evoke existential unease. This veneer of conventional wisdom creates a facade of contentment while masking the presence of the abyss within, a quiet presence that rebels against such artificial boundaries, yearning instead for authenticity and the truth of being, regardless of its discomfort. Consider the existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre, who spoke of nothingness as foundational to freedom. Such philosophies bring into stark relief the tension between individual experience and collective reality, a tension exacerbated by society's relentless drive towards progress and conformity. This hidden problem grows quietly, nourished by the tension between who we are and who we are supposed to be, an endless cycle wherein the abyss becomes both a reminder and a refuge. The abyss then stares back with a smile as a reflection of our entangled psyche, a reminder that in the search for meaning, we often fabricate comforting illusions. In reality, it reveals with stark clarity the truths nestled under layers of personal facade and social constructs. Viktor Frankl, in advocating for finding meaning amid suffering, urged us to look into the depths as a form of acceptance, to confront our inner nothingness not as a loss, but as an opportunity to redefine and rebuild. What other truths do we deny that this outreach of the abyss seeks to illuminate? In acknowledging its gaze, can we negotiate the cavernous stretches between our superficially secure lives and the vast potential of genuine freedom? This dialogue, though disconcerting, can guide us into the labyrinthine intricacies of self-awareness. And yet, even as we peer into these truths, the question remains, what are the tangible ramifications of ignoring this introspective journey? As we continue our exploration, the urgency of understanding its impact becomes clearer, prompting a closer examination of how these unnoticed reflections shape the fabric of our reality. Prepare to dive deeper as this unseen influence unfolds unnoticed consequences, silently charting the paths we tread. As we edge deeper into this quiet drama, the abyss lurking within the folds of our reality continues to impart its subtle, yet far-reaching influence. It shapes perspectives, softly manipulating the undercurrents of human behavior and societal norms while cloaked in shadows. Our failure to recognize this hidden influence can lock us into unseen cages, altering the trajectories of individual lives and the collective path of society with a stealthy elegance. In this intricate dance with the abyss, cognitive biases act as unwitting partners. Our brains, in their evolutionary passion for efficiency, are prone to shortcuts that can corrupt understanding. Consider the confirmation bias, the tendency to favor information that supports our pre-existing beliefs. It is a sirenic call from the depths, steering us away from the discomfort of contradiction and leaving us ensnared in cycles of affirmation. The smile of the abyss, thus, reflects not only what lies dormant and unacknowledged, but also this intrinsic laziness of perception, warning us of the real perils in our quest for certainty. With repeated omissions and evasions, the abyss's impact reaches society as habit takes the form of culture. Carl Jung likened such scenarios to a telective shadow, where cultural conditioning becomes a sophisticated mask, shielding individuals from raw truths by infilling a socially sanctioned interpretation of reality. This collective denial, while reducing cognitive dissonance, distances humanity further from its authentic self and traps generations within echo chambers of inherited thought, slowly dulling the vibrancy of new perspectives. Here in this shared shadowland, personal and societal values can become untethered, conflating material acquisition with happiness, equating success with possession, and mirroring a deeper emptiness with insipidity. Masquerading as bliss, the abyss, empty yet meaningful, sees through our constructs, and in its reflective gaze lies not condemnation but a catalyst for deeper questioning. This unwitting collusion with the abyss contributes to a pervasive enemy, a dissonant blend of disconnection and discontent, nurturing a kind of spiritual malaise that leaves society grasping for meaning. Within this void of unnoticed consequences, the narratives we silently heed can color expectations. Aldous Huxley once cautioned against the dangers of reduced awareness, warning of a society sedated by distractions, compelled to overlook its own reflection, much like numbed participants in a passive consumption of digital noise. The abyss watches as choices driven by unchecked algorithms of convenience further deteriorate our capacity for critical thought, surrendering autonomy to the patterns they dictate. What happens when the abyss's gaze remains unacknowledged? When culture thrives on egotism and crises of identity, and when sparks of individual genius are suppressed by the hum of conformity? Paradoxically, the unnoticed comfort can spiral into a wellspring of anxiety, a byproduct of living off-key from one's true calling, where latent doubts and suppressed creativity fester beneath the curated reality. Even the narratives of time and progress are tangled within unseen bindings. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence offers a metaphor for the cyclic nature of ignored reflection, suggesting history's repeat, if devoid of new insights. Such a cycle, if perpetuated, propels humanity along a pathway where transformation is curtailed and innovation stagnates, a path peppered with failed potential and vacant fulfillment. As each layer of ignorance fuels another, the urgency for escape intensifies. How can one sever the invisible chains of these constraints? To dare to see the smile of the abyss is to embark on an awakening, challenging the perceived inevitability of these patterns. This is no simple feat, requiring courage to face the inherent risks of introspection, to deconstruct and recreate meaning beyond the specters of consequence. And so, we march forward to confront these cloying traps, seeking not just an escape but a full reclamation of self, ready to spark a rebellion with the knowledge of how to pry open these mental bindings. Let us explore how to break free, to harness the power of the abyss not as an enemy, but a profound catalyst for change. The evolution of our story continues toward its crucial turn. To spark a rebellion against the bindings of the unseen abyssal influence, we must first confront it, arm in arm with an introspective courage that seeks liberation. The shadows cast by the void are not masters but indicates, whispering challenges to transcend preordained paths. It is time to rise from passive acceptance, anointing the unexamined parts of our psyche with the light of conscious awareness. How then to unshackle ourselves from these unseen chains and dance in the light of undiscovered freedom? Begin this revolution with a radical shift in perception, a new lens through which to view the tangled weave of self and society. Here lies an opportunity to rewrite the narrative, to listen not to the clamor of external validations, but the quiet truths echoing from within. Friedrich Nietzsche urged us to live as though each choice is eternal, embracing every decision with the totality of its consequences, an approach not of fatalism, but one that encourages us to value depth over breadth, honesty over illusion. Imagine now stepping into that mindset, cherishing nuance over certainty, dialogue over dogma. Viktor Frankl, thriving within the hell of concentration camps, discovered that meaning itself, rather than happiness, should be the axis around which our lives revolve. He challenged the pervasive emptiness with the realization that we always hold the freedom to choose our response to circumstances. This, too, is your weapon against the abyss, the reclamation of choice in the face of nothingness. Embrace discomfort as a guide rather than a deterrent. If the smile of the abyss offers distortion and emptiness as default, turn it into a canvas. Paint it with questions that provoke rather than answers that placate. Foster a relationship with curiosity, engaging not just with what is, but with multitudes of possibilities. Let Jean-Paul Sartre's belief in radical freedom propel you forward, recognizing that liberation begins with accepting responsibility for your creations, your truths, and your actions. Incorporate the lessons of the Stoics, whose ancient wisdom remains fiercely applicable. They remind us that true power lies in distinguishing between what we can control and what we cannot, focusing our energy on the former. Engaging with the abyss, we dismantle the illusion of powerlessness by strategizing around influence rather than domination. Such rebellion also thrives on community, a collective awakening. History abounds with examples of individuals breaking free from societal shadows to illuminate paths anew. The Transcendentalists, led by figures like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, embodied this act of rebellion by retreating into nature to shed societal constraints, thus discovering profound self-reliance. Their legacy implores us, seek not just individual enlightenment but share these insights, creating ripples of change that can evolve societies. Art and creativity emerge as allies, reshaping perception through expression. Dive into creative pursuits, exploring new narratives that challenge ancient cycles. Use the abyss's inherent silence as a studio, composing symphonies of insights that might touch the minds and inspire the souls still ensnared by unseen constraints. In thriving through rebellion, remember humility. Recognize that the journey is ongoing, that unknowing is integral to wisdom, a gateway to profound self-awareness. Rather than view the abyss as an adversary, see it as a place of potential, teaching us that in facing and embracing our fears, we find the raw materials of courage and creativity. Turn now from discovery to application. Facilitate spaces of reflection and discourse within your circles, to question and explore myths and truths while denouncing societal dogmas. Share your rebellion not as gospel but as possibility, an invitation for others to discover their own freedoms. And so, here you stand, both the revolution's instigator and its beneficiary. You hold the key not to an escape, but to a deeper engagement with life, finding an unshakable foundation within. Our journey towards ultimate understanding continues, ever drawing closer to the most profound realization, the one that, once grasped, will redefine everything. Prepare to take the final steps into a new horizon, beyond fear and pretense, and into truth's embrace. As you draw ever nearer to the heart of this enigmatic journey, a profound silence descends, the kind that envelops like a shroud, yet invites you into its depths with a compelling warmth. Amidst the haze of understanding, beyond the turbulence of rebellion, lies the ultimate truth, a realization as transformative as it is unsettling. It stands in stark contrast to the battles waged within the human spirit and the abyss that both haunts and hails us. Imagine this final turn as an ascent, where each step forward is lightened by the burdens now cast aside. In these moments of clarity, it occurs to you that the abyss, with its daunting edges and infinite possibilities, was never the adversary but a silent companion, reflecting your own limitless potential. The truth reveals itself like the sudden parting of clouds. The abyss smiles not out of mockery nor mirth, but out of understanding, a testament to your journey. The abyss speaks the language of paradox, where meaning and meaninglessness coexist, where emptiness is not devoid, but full of potential, a canvas unmarked by fear or false expectation. Here, the ultimate liberation unveils itself in the understanding that the very limits you perceived were never fixed external realities, but self-imposed boundaries, crafted from fear, ignorance, and inherited narratives. This is the essence of the abyss, a mirror reflecting the boundless freedom you inherently possess. Your ultimate truth, the power of your narrative, is a divine force, capable of sculpting reality from the ether of possibility. This profound insight, that the story you tell yourself shapes existence more potently than any external condition, transforms the void into a stage for creation. The abyss has always been waiting for you to take the helm, to choose which stars to paint across the night sky of your life. Recognize that freedom lies in acceptance, an embrace of the fleeting nature of existence without, relinquishing your power to sculpt significance amidst its impermanence. The discovery that each moment offers a choice, a chance to infuse meaning into the mundane, liberates you from the shackles of existential dread. You realize the simple truth that meaning is not found, but forged. And so, the abyss's smile broadens, but it is not just the abyss smiling. You too have learned to smile back, to see beauty in the balance of the known and the unknown. This revelation is not an end, but a beginning, a return to a world washed anew by understanding. Armed with this knowledge, you transform fear into curiosity, solitude into serenity, and uncertainty into an open field of possible expansion. Let this realization unite the parts of life once fractured, dissolving the boundaries between the self you were taught to fear and the potential self you yearn to embrace. In this convergence lies not just individual redemption but a collective awakening, a transcendence beyond self-imposed exile to a sanctuary of unity and acceptance. Philosophers like Rilke challenged us to enlive the questions now, and in doing so perhaps, you will gradually, without noticing it, live along, some distant day into the answer. Here, in the smile of the abyss, you find that the questions are the answers, the journey the destination. As you step forward into this world reclaimed, know that everything you need resides within. The canvas of the void, now familiar and welcoming, invites you to etch your truth upon it. And as you stand upon the cusp of this ultimate realization, poised in the twilight of old beliefs and new beginnings, you boldly cast your shadow in the shape of your dreams, confident in the harmony created between the abyss and the realized self. Let this final truth linger in the corridors of your thoughts, automatically drawing forth a life lived deliberately, sailing across the horizon towards a destiny unbounded by fear. In this newfound silence you hear more than the absence, a resonance harmonizing purpose and potential. You are not merely the observer, you are the creator and the creation itself, a beautiful paradox smiling back from the abyss, now part of you, guiding your every step.